Hello, welcome. I've been making a bunch of really dope looking Facebook ads that have been converting a lot, and I had about 10 people in the last few days that have been sharing like my ads on my page. I've had about 10 people directly message me saying, dude, how do you do that? How do you make the ads look so good? How do you get the subtitles on there? Etc., etc. So, without further ado, here's my whole process for shooting ads, editing ads, getting subtitles, and then publishing them. Let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the content of your video ad. I'm going to share with you the different types of processes that I might use to make an ad. The first one is a process that I've just started trying out recently, and that is Facebook live streams. Obviously, this all depends on what you are selling, what you're trying to advertise. In my case, I am the brand, so to speak, for the thing that I'm selling. So I'm doing live streams with my own face, just talking to the camera. But you don't have to do that. Well, maybe for live streams you do. Actually, you don't, but that's typically the reason why you would want to do a live stream. But the formula for the content is going to be the same, whether it's a Facebook live stream or if it's a keynote slash PowerPoint presentation. The formula, excuse me, formula is going to be the same. I don't think there are other things that I do. So yeah, these are typically the things that I'll do. Either I will do a Facebook live stream, and then let's say I do 5 different live streams over the course of a week. I can see, this is the great thing about doing it this way, by the way, the live streams. I can see the response to my videos. So typically I'll get a good indicator or an indication of how well that ad is going to perform based on how much people are enjoying it, right? So if I do 5 live streams, you're going to immediately see that one of them is outperforming the other ones in terms of comments and likes and questions, etc. So in that respect, it's really good because you're kind of testing your ads without paying for them. Of course, you don't have to do live streams. You don't have to have your face on it. You can always just make a keynote presentation or PowerPoint. And let's talk about the formula, because this is what people struggle a lot with. Like, okay, if I'm going to do a live stream, what am I going to say? Right. So the formula, this is when I joined my first online course in 2012 to learn how to start an online business. This was one of the main things that I took away from my then teacher, now friend and mentor, Timothy Mark. He taught me this formula that I still use, and you can apply this anywhere, right? So this is basically it. The first step is attention. So I like to clarify that by saying who is the video for. Problem definition, and then we've got the solution, and then we got proof and credibility, and then we've got call to action. This is the formula, and you don't have to go more difficult or complex than this. And the beauty about this is you can take 30 seconds right now to memorize this, and you will remember it for the rest of your life if you try hard enough. And that's beautiful because it means you can actually do a live stream, and all you have to figure out is basically like, okay, well, what is the problem? What is a common problem that I know my audience has? And what is the solution to that? Do I have any evidence to back that up? And what do I want at the end of the video? Do I want to sell them a book? Like, what am I selling? Like, you could almost just start the live stream and figure this out on the spot, but you would still have this nice structure to the content of your video. So this works really well for ads or any presentation, or even like this YouTube video. I might follow this formula, right? So let's talk about it for a second. Attention. So who is the video for? So in the video that I'm going to be showing you in a second, the attention, so the audience is, people that want to start a digital agency, but more than that, it's people who have a digital agency and are doing all the work themselves. That is the audience for that. So the problem is they're doing all the work. They're doing all the work and they can't grow because there's no time left over. There's no time left at the end of the day. Solution is start paying freelancers, start paying high, start paying more for the freelancers that you are hiring, and your day will open up because they can solve their own problems. So I think I skip the proof and the credibility. I talk very briefly about the impact that it had on my business. The impact that it had on my business. I could have done a better job for this one. And then at the end, buy my ebook is the call to action. So you can see how this formula is extremely simple, and you should just follow this. Honestly, like, don't make things complicated. So you can do this in a live stream, you can do this in a presentation like this, and this is a really good structure to your content. So once you've done this, you obviously need to shoot the video. So let's talk briefly about that, the video. So I'm gonna talk to you about live action video. Obviously, well, so let's do this. It's not only for live action, but the first thing that you need to worry about is audio. The thing is, like, on Facebook, 90% of the videos are watched on mute anyway, which is why I make a big deal of getting subtitles. But audio is very important. It's almost arguably more important than video. So it is very important, okay? It is less important on Facebook given how many people watch them on mute, but I'm putting it down there anyway. So we're talking about live action now when we're talking about lighting. This is also, like, I don't think the visuals of your video are hugely important. If you can get the message across, it doesn't really matter. But if you're gonna take the time to shoot a video of yourself and you have, the opportunity to shoot a poorly lit video or a greatly lit video, then shoot a greatly lit one. So just, if you can, stand in front of a window, right? Where you're looking like you'd put the camera on the windowsill facing you, right? And you would be facing the window. Obviously, then the light would be hitting your face. The other thing that you should consider is the background. So, like, again, with the lighting, by the way, like, just shoot a little test. Like, if you got your phone with you, just shoot a little selfie video. And, like, if you just take the video, if you just take your phone and put it on selfie mode and you just point it at yourself and you just do a 360 spin, you'll easily see where the lighting is the best, where there's the minimum amount of shadow or darkness on your face. So think about that, and you don't want to have too much light in the background because it will just overexpose everything and it will be completely white and look really, really bad. So the background, like, just look for the nicest background at your disposal, and you don't want a lot of light from the background pointing into the camera. The other thing we need to talk about is equipment. Like, these days, your phone is most likely good enough. All smartphones are good enough, and good enough is perfect. You don't have to go DSLR, you don't have to buy any type of equipment like that. If you get a smartphone, just use that and don't worry too much about the equipment. I assure you a relatively modern smartphone is more than good enough. And one thing I will say though is the back camera is usually better than the front camera. So if you can, then just flip it around. You won't be able to see yourself, but you'll do a quick test before with the selfie camera, like the front-facing camera, just to check the lighting. And then if you can, you just point the back camera at you, and that's going to have slightly better optics or whatever. And then you want to do, if you can, shoot a quick 3-second test just to make sure that it doesn't look weird, because On my iPhone, for example, the back camera is actually zoomed in a little bit. So if I didn't know that, I might miss something in the shot, or I might cut out my forehead or something like that. Because obviously, you know, another thing to think about is you want to be centered in the shot. You don't want your forehead cut off. You don't want the video to start from your chin, right? So just try to shoot a test. Shoot a quick test to see what it will look like before you record the actual video. The other thing is, like, I think that you should try to not stick to a script too much. This is why I love the formula, because you just need to have some bullets in your head and then you can just kind of wing it. And don't be afraid of screwing up, because you can always edit the video when we go to the editing stage later on, which we are about to actually. So I hope that helps as far as, you know, your video content, like how you can do it. Either you do a live stream and you just go to Facebook and you download that video and then you go into the video editor, which is going to be the next step here. Or you just make a keynote presentation like this and you would hit play like so, and you would run through the presentation and you would just record your screen with Screenflow or QuickTime or something like that, Camtasia, whatever. And then we got the formula: attention, problem definition, solution, proving credibility, and then call to action. And your video, these are some things to think about, specifically if you're doing live action video. And with that said, I think we're ready to jump over to the actual video editing. So I've shot my video at this point. I'm going to show you how I edit it in the next stage. So see you there. All right. Welcome to this video where I'm going to walk you through how to actually edit your raw footage into an awesome video ad that is ready to go for Facebook and Instagram, and it has subtitles and everything. So I'm going to use Screenflow. That is the program that I use. I can't cover every single software out there, of course. And the truth is, the principles is that's what you need to learn here. You need to learn about what I'm doing, not like exactly where's the button. So if you don't have if you have Camtasia on PC, for example, don't worry about it. Like, all of this stuff is pretty simple to figure out. What you need to learn is the principles of the ad, right? So let me kick off with Screenflow and we'll get started right away. So let me start a new project. And I'm going to do new document here. So I'm going to do 1080 by 1080, which will allow me to get a nice little square. I'm going to pull my raw footage in here, which is shot with my DSLR. So it might be a little bit heavier than usual, because honestly, I usually just do my ads on my iPhone, and I highly recommend that. The video files are not huge, and the quality is definitely good enough. So as you know, or may not know, I'm going to leave a blank at the top and the bottom. One is kind of for the curious, intriguing title that captures people's attention, and the bottom will be for my subtitles, which is hugely important, right? Up to 90% of videos are watched on mute on Facebook. So without subtitles, you are definitely not going to get your message across, right? So the starting point of the video is very important. We have 3 seconds basically to help the viewer decide whether or not to watch the video. So you can either start with the attention part of the formula, which is, you know, talking about who it's for, or what I like better is to start with the second part of the formula, which is the problem definition. This is where straight away you go into the problem that people are facing, and almost by definition, if they resonate with that problem, then we've also covered, you know, part one of the formula, which is who the video is for. So if we hit the problem right, then they're also going to come to the conclusion that, yes, this is for me, I should watch this video. So I believe I go through the attention stage first and then I go to the problem, but I think I might cut out that first part. So let's have a listen.
All right, so if you want to have a digital agency, or if you have one already, I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this first part and I'm going to go straight into the problem.
Want to have a digital agency, or if you have one already,
yeah, so this is basically where I'm gonna want to start the video. So,
I want to talk about.
So this is where the video is gonna start. Okay, so
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind
so now I'm gonna speed this up and I'm gonna play it real quick, and I want to see if there are any cuts that I need to make or any things that I need to delete. Let's do that.
of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where
By the way, on Screenflow, if you click the L button for Lithuania, it will speed up your playback.
you got people that can actually deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, most of us when we start out as a solopreneur are very kind of low on cash, right? So it's hard for us to hire the people that we wish we could hire, right? So in my agency that I started in 2012, for the first 4 years, I was always on the lookout for the cheapest worker. And of course, you get what you pay for, and you know this already. Yet, what do? We're always looking for those cheap workers. Here's what I did though. I mean, you know what happens, right? You hire a cheap worker, they bug you about every little problem that comes up, they have you basically solve everything. So now you're paying somebody and you're working just as much. And at the end of the day, they're executing on the thing that you told them to execute. And at the end of the day, now you don't have any more time, you just have less money and more headaches. So here's what I did one day, 4 years into my journey. We make animated videos, and I was working with these Ukrainian animators. So when we had one of our clients in Sweden send feedback to us, we had to translate the feedback, send it to the Ukrainian animators. It was a nightmare. So one day I said, let's try hiring a local Swedish animator. It's going to cost me 3 times as much, but worst case scenario, the math doesn't add up, we don't make profit, and I go back to the Ukrainians. Hired a Swedish animator, and was just absolutely blown away at how much easier my life got, how much less time I had to be involved in the project, and also how much less time it took to deliver the project. Because we had just better quality right out the gates. There was less feedback, less drafts, clients were happier from the beginning, started leaving better reviews, started recommending us to more people. I was now incredibly proud of the work that we were doing, which I was not, prior to that. So we started this chain reaction of really good things that made wonders, or did wonders for my business. So here's what I would tell you. And I know it's scary, but if you're struggling with this, you got to start paying more for people that come work for you. As soon as you do that, you're going to have the same chain reaction that I have had in my business. But the one ingredient that you're going to find, the one quality that you're going to find once you start paying a little bit more for people to come work for you, is these people have a quality that low-level workers do not have. And that is the ability to solve problems on their own. And that might not sound like much, but it is actually a game.
Another thing to keep in mind as you're rewatching your video is try to listen for something interesting that you said, which I think is kind of funny, right? You're listening to yourself speak and trying to find something interesting. But if we can find, what's called a hook, like what is something interesting about this video that might be counterintuitive or just interesting, that's gonna be a good source for our kind of headline or title.
Game changer. So the difference is they do their work, right? You hire them to run Facebook ads or do SEO or whatever the case may be. Some problem comes up that is not in the manual, right? Now they have two options. One, try to figure out that problem on their own and just deliver the solution to the client. Or two, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, here's the situation. What do I do? The problem with that latter one is now you're paying for somebody and you are still doing the work. You're just telling them your brain power is still being used to solve all the problems, and now they just execute on what you did, right? On the contrary, when you have these people that can solve their own problems, you can now actually free up your day, start working on growing the business, and not so much this kind of nitty-gritty day-to-day operation. So that's been a game changer for me, and I highly recommend that you start paying people a little bit more, even though it is scary. You can always test it out and see how it goes. But it did wonders for my business, and highly recommend that. If you want to learn more about how to create, start or grow or automate a digital agency, I got a book called The 2 Hour Agency where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating it to the point where I literally work less than 2 hours a week to manage this business now. So that book has a bunch of things like this and other tips and tricks as well along the journey. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. And with that, I'm signing off here today. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Cool. So this is where we're going to end. I didn't really find anything that was that needs to be cut or anything like that. And then as you're going to find out, I'm actually going to speed up my video by 25%. I just feel like, in this day and age, we have a very short attention span. We don't have time for people to take a long time to get to the point, to speak slowly, all of that. So I try to speed them up without making it so it's fast, so fast that I'm not going to get the message or I'm not going to hear what the guy is saying. So yeah, I think there's no cuts that need to be made. Maybe here it looks like there's a big gap. If you see these big gaps with no sound, then obviously that might be a place where you could do a little jump cut. So let's check this out in normal speed.
What do? We're always looking for those cheap workers. Here's what I did though.
It's not bad. I'll leave that in. So, okay, we've got the raw footage here. I think we can start thinking about, kind of backgrounds and headline and those things as well. So let me just check the start again.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you.
Yeah, so right now I'm trying to think of what is something interesting about this video that we could put here in a headline or in a title that would, you show this to somebody for 2 seconds without them hearing the sound. How do I convince them that this is something that they should be listening to? So we can go to the T up here on the right, and we can add a text thingy, and I'll put the background in for now, although I'm going to be changing that later on. So let me just make this like red for now, and I'll just put this just put this here, and I will be changing this in the near future. But I just want that there for now. So what could I be saying? We're talking about, so let's think about the problem that people are having. The problem that people are having is they're not able to go from being a solopreneur to an actual agency owner. So they're basically slaves in their own business. So that could be something interesting. How to free yourself from being a slave in your own business. You know, that is somehow interesting, and it talks about a very, very common problem. So let's just play with this. How to not be a slave in your own business. And then, so now, by the way, for the shortcuts people, I am doing Command A to highlight the text, and then I do Command T to bring up the type thingy or the font, and then I can drag this down to make it like that. And I'm going to change it to Condensed Black, Helvetica, which allows me to make it even bigger. That's a good font to use for these kinds of videos. How to not be a slave in your own business. I don't love it. I like the concept, but I don't love the titling of it. How to not be a slave in your business. So maybe why you are a slave in your own business would be better. Why you are a slave in your own business. Wonder if Google or Facebook's gonna have a problem with this. I doubt it, but you never know with those guys.
To go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, you know, most of us when we start out as a solopreneur are very...
Yeah, so this is good enough, I think. This is going to be something we can work with. So before we kind of look at potential background images, I want to just see if I can do any editing to this image. So typically the only things that I like to change is highlights, shadows, maybe brightness, and maybe contrast. So you know, this is why I was talking about the principles. Like, you don't need to know exactly where it is if you know what you need to find. Like, it's going to be easy for you. So in Screenflow, you just go to this little video part, and you got color controls, which will give you some of this. So saturation is another one that I like to play with. So this one, I got this cool little purple background. So you see how my face is turning all colory, which is not nice. So I don't think I'm going to play with this too much. I think with the highlights change that I'm going to do in a second, I think we'll get some nice purple in the background. Brightness, I think, is okay. You can always play around with it, right, and go back to whatever it was. Yeah, so I don't want to really play with these. I'm going to do a video filter, and I'm going to search for you know, shadow and highlight. They're typically, they come as one in some programs like this. So I'm going to do the highlight. If I'm going to pull this down, I think we're going to get a little bit more purple in the background, which we definitely are. And now I need to pull up the shadow a bit. And now, okay, my face looks a bit weird. So let's see if we can save this with contrast and brightness, which I'm not sure I'll be able to, because I have to pull down the saturation a bit here. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is worth doing, to be honest, because it
kind of low on cash, right? So it's hard.
Yeah, it wasn't bad to start with. I think I might just leave this one on default, but I just wanted to bring that up to you because specifically the highlights and the shadows, they can sometimes make your videos look a lot better.
hard for us to hire the people.
So that looks pretty good. Like, let's see if I remove this. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna make a copy. So check this out. I just want to see the difference in my edits here. So let's do 100%. So I'm going to basically go back to the defaults on this one, 100, and I'm going to delete this. And so this is what the video looks like with no editing, and this is what it looks like after. So I'm not really getting what I wanted. The only thing I really wanted to do here was like maybe get the shadows up a little bit. You can see it's a little bit dark under my eyes and stuff like that. And I also wanted some more purple, but I don't really think that I'm accomplishing that very well here. So I don't want to go crazy into details on this stuff for sure, but let's do a little more playing around and see what we can do. So I think the shadows here are better. The shadows are definitely better. You also get this fade when you do it too much, so so saturation was up a bit. Yeah, I think I might just go default, because I'm really not like a professional editor. But I think the shadows could be brought up. I think that will make a difference to the face. It's a little bit dark. Yeah, I think that's better.
You know what happens, right? You hire a cheap worker, they bug you about every little problem that comes up. They have you basically...
Yeah, let me see what happens with contrast. If I do a bit more of that.
Solve everything, so now you're paying somebody.
Yeah, this looks pretty cool. You just need to play around.
And you're working just as much.
Yeah, I like this. Cool, so let's keep this one.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you.
Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So now we need to decide one, and this is not going to be a game changer, but we have two options. One, we do this kind of flat color background, or we put an actual image in there. So it kind of depends on the topic. If it's like, if you're talking about popcorn, then a popcorn background, like back in the old days when you made websites, that would be very kind of captivating and capture attention. Whereas here, it's like, I'm talking about hiring. I mean, there's no kind of go-to image that comes to mind right away. But with that said, you need to know about unsplash.com, because you could find very high quality images that you're free to use. So let's say that I did want a popcorn background. Maybe I could find one here. Yeah, so like, you know, something like this would make for a really cool background for the text, and perhaps even for the subtitle or caption section of the video. But I'm not going to do popcorn. Let me do an image though, just to kind of show you how it's done. So first of all, I'm going to take my text and I'm going to remove the background on the text. So we're just going to get rid of this backdrop. And then I'm going to find an image that we could use. So what could we use?
We make animated videos. Hired a Swedish animator project of really good things that made wonders, paying more. But
I might just do an office building, like we're talking about business and stuff. Let's see if we can just find something cool. Office building. I'm sure there'll be some nice images. Yeah, like I love those types of images. So as you can see, really professional type of stuff. So I'm just going to do right click, save image as, and I'll throw that on my desktop. I'll put office building. And then let's go to Screenflow, and I'm going to find that image here somewhere, office building. I'm going to put that, it's got to be underneath. It doesn't have to be, but the easiest way to do it is to put it underneath, underneath the video and underneath the font or the text. So you can see it there in the background. So what we can do is move it up a bit. That looks pretty dope. I like that. So first of all, let me just do this. Let me just make this black right away so that we can work with it. No, it doesn't look good actually. So let's do white and let's add a shadow. That's a good trick, by the way. If you got text, so as you can see here, I tried white, you can't read it. I'm trying black, you can't read that either because we've got both whites and blacks in the background. So there's two things that we can do to solve that. Number one is we can add, so let's say, let's go back to white. So the first thing you can do here is you can go and add like a box. I'm just gonna add a box. So that's here with the pencils called Annotations in Screenflow. I'm gonna click on the box and I'm gonna make this box. I'm gonna put it here. Actually, I'll put it here for now. And I'm gonna change the color. So I'm gonna make it full black and then I'm gonna reel down the opacity a bit so you can kind of see through it. So you can see what I'm doing here is I'm gonna make the background image darker so that the white font is actually gonna be readable. So let's just make it like this, and actually it looks pretty dope. Cool, so now we just need to make sure that the text is actually on top of this one. So here's what I wanna do. I wanna go down here, and I'm gonna move these two up here, and I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna put that here. And now we're gonna see that the text is actually readable, right? So that is one way to solve that kind of thing. And I don't know if you can see this, but I'll show you. Maybe I was seeing things. Oh, here you can see I didn't fully cover the background with the box, so I just want to make this box bigger. So let's see if I can do that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna make it bigger. That way it's covering everything. Cool. So that's one way to make sure that your text is visible. The other thing that you can do, if I get rid of this again, now we can't read it, right? The other thing you can do is add shadow because it's basically going to have the same effect. So what I do to do that, let me think here. How do you add shadow to text? Maybe they don't have that as an option in this program. They've only got the backdrop, I think. And by the way, that's another shortcut of doing it. So let me show you what I just did in the same way, but just giving the text a background. That's actually much easier now that I think about it. It doesn't always work for the purposes that you want, but in this case, it's actually a good option. So I don't think we have shadow, but that is one of the solutions that you can use as well if you don't want to change that background. Let me just make sure first there's no shadow thingy here. I don't think so. Okay, that's all right. You can do an outline, but it usually doesn't look great in my opinion. You see, like it kind of ruins the font a little bit. So I just thought that it was possible. Anyways, it's not a huge deal. It does look pretty good. I don't think it's tremendously captivating as far as colors go, so we could play around with it, see if we could try like that looks kind of cool. You still got the office buildings, but now you're getting these colors. You know, you got to remember, where is this video going to show? Well, it's going to show on Facebook primarily. So we're talking about blues and whites. So anything that is high contrast to blues and whites and grays is going to pop. So yellow is going to pop, red is going to pop, purple is going to pop, green is going to pop, although I typically stay away from green because I think 8% of males have this color blindness where if they look at like a neon green, it like cuts their eyes. Like it just doesn't look good for them. Like they almost feel pain by looking at it. So this would be a terrible color to use because immediately 8% of men like can't stand looking at your video. So that's a little trick there. So you want to use these kind of colors that are easier on the eyes when you're doing this kind of thing. Now I'm gonna go with I might go a yellow here, so I'm gonna do maybe like a little bit darker. Cool, and I'm probably gonna make the text black to make it work better with the yellow background. While you are a slave in your own business. Cool. Let's see if I can pull that up a little bit. Yeah, cool. While you are a slave in your own business. I like it. What about purple though? Would purple look cool? Maybe. Maybe like a dark purple. And then of course, we gotta do a white font on that. Screw it, let's try it. So now the question is, my fonts, my captions are gonna go here. I can either just leave this as is, which might not be a bad idea, or I make this image so that it's showing in the whole frame. But I don't necessarily feel the need to do that, to be honest. I think that looks pretty cool. I might do a little bit darker here for the text background. So let me pull the opacity up a bit so you can read it easier. While you're a slave in your own business. Yeah. One other option, by the way, would be to do another annotations. I would add a box, and I would just do a purple box that has the same kind of purple like this other thing. So I would do that, and I would make this, I would put it underneath the video so that it doesn't go above it. And then I would click this twice, and then I would click on the color thing, and then I would do the eyedrop thing, and then I would try to find a purple inside of here that I like that. So that's not bad. It's got at least some congruency there on the top and the bottom. And then my subtitles are gonna go here. So I'm kind of liking this, to be honest, and then we just need to see if there are some other things that we need to do before we export it. So
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, most of us when we start out as a solopreneur are very kind of low on cash, right? So it's hard for us to hire the people that we wish we could hire, right? So in my agency that I started in 2012, for the first 4 years, I was always on the lookout for the cheapest worker. And
yeah, I think this is pretty good.
Way at business, grow or some tricks as well along the journey. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. And with that, I'm signing off here today. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
So a couple of things. One, I could add my book here.
I got a book called The 2-Hour Agency.
That would be kind of cool. Screw it. Let's do it just for this video. So I got a book called something promo. I know, book promo. So let me pull that in, and I'm going to have it enter right away when I mention it. So let me make it smaller. And then, it's kind of whack. Yeah, let's do this. Let's make it smaller and like just put it here. That's kind of cool. Or, because the subtitles are going to go on the bottom, so I don't want to put the subtitles on top of the book. But I think this could work. So now one thing, so let's listen to it again.
Or automate a digital agency. I got a book called The 2-Hour Agency where I cover.
Cool, so it just showed up, right? So let's put a nice little animation on it. So we could do right click and add starting transition. And then you can go, if you scroll up, you can see this transition here. This is an animation. So in this case, it's just a fade. You can see, watch this.
Cover all facets of.
So you see how it just faded in. So I'm gonna change that to one of my favorites, which is called push. And that's gonna
cover all
push it
facets
from the side. Now, it's coming from the wrong side, in my opinion. So show transition inspector, and I'm gonna do from right to left. And now we got this. But before that, let me make sure it's quick. It should be like half a second. There we go. Let's try it.
Book called The 2-Hour Agency, where I cover all facets.
Beautiful, right?
Agency, where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating.
But maybe it would look better here because I got more space here. So let's change the side again to left or right, and let's check it out.
Book called The 2-Hour Agency, where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating it to the.
Cool. So the other little thing that I like to do here, just for a nice touch, is I'm gonna look for, I got some sounds here that I've purchased. So I don't remember where, but if I can beep, alarm, maybe one's called, I'm trying to find the folder. Swish. I swear that should be findable. Yeah, here we go. So let me find this folder and let's listen to some sounds. I want like a, which is called what? What do you call a? I think it's called a swoosh, maybe. Swoosh. My mom's calling me. Hear that? I like that. Let's use that one. So I'm going to put that right where the transition happens, right? Or yeah, it's called the transition. It's like an animation, right? So let's see how this goes.
Agency, where I cover all facets. Agency, where I
Pretty cool, right? Would it look better on the bottom though? Kind of does, doesn't it?
Agency, where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating.
Yeah, screw it. The subtitles are going to be on top of this a little bit, which I'm aware of, but it's fine.
Where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating it to the point where I literally work less than 2 hours a week to manage this business now. So that book has a bunch of things like this and other tips and tricks as well along the journey. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. And with that, I'm signing off here today. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Cool. So I just want to add a little fade on at the end here. So I'm going to do everything and I'm going to do a right click and add an ending transition. And now everything should fade at the same time. Let's see.
Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Okay, it looks kind of bad.
Ciao.
Because of the background and stuff. So let's remove all the, I might just keep it like this.
Thanks for watching. Ciao.
Yeah, because we got that picture background. It looked kind of weird when it was fading out. So I think we might be ready to export this video. I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to add a little underline. So let's build a annotation. Why you are a slave in your own business. You are a slave. So let's do that. And I'm going to do white probably. White. Cool. And I'm going to do thickness. Cool. And it needs to go on top of this. So we can move all these up. I guess we cannot. Let's do this. Move everything down. Now I can put this here. I'm going to make it a little bit like that. Okay. So I think we are ready here. To export.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can, where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating it.
I like it. All right, so here's the deal. I'm gonna export this video and then I'm gonna upload it to YouTube and I'm gonna let YouTube create the subtitles. Now I know from experience that once I've done that, I'm gonna play the video on YouTube with subtitles enabled, and then I'm gonna record my screen, which will actually, I'm gonna record my screen with the subtitles, and then I'm gonna just, do that with Screenflow, and then I'm gonna export that video. So when I start the video though, it'll show all the YouTube controls and stuff. So if I start recording my screen, I click play on the YouTube video, and then I can see these like YouTube play buttons and stuff. That doesn't look good. So for that reason, because of the way I do it, I'm gonna make sure to leave like a couple of seconds in the beginning where nothing is happening, because this is not the final video that I'm gonna be using, because I'm gonna be recording my screen off of YouTube. So I might just do it like that, and I'll move everything now here. So we got a couple of seconds to like just move our mouse so the YouTube controls will disappear.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business.
Okay, cool. The other thing that I'm realizing now is I'm probably gonna take this out and I'm gonna save this, and then I'm gonna put this on the final video instead of here. So after I've recorded the YouTube thing, then I'll put this here. So I'm gonna do Control C. Actually, let me do this. I'm just gonna hide it here, and then when I export this, these will not show, and then I'll just put them back here later on, which you will see in a second. So let's go and export this now, and I do want to tell you that if you are using, by the way, if you want to add background music, you can. Just make sure that it's low enough volume so that you can hear everything that is being said. When you export it, this is specifically for Screenflow. If you're making a square video and you go File, Publish to YouTube, don't do that, because it's actually going to take your square video and it's going to stretch the sides so that it becomes a normal kind of horizontal video. For that reason, we need to export it just to our computer, and then we'll manually upload it to YouTube. So I'm just going to call this 2-Hour Agency Facebook ad number 5. And I'm going to do 100% here, and then I'm just going to export this, and then I'll come back when this is done. So, see you soon. All right, video is exported. So now we need to do one simple step. You go to youtube.com, go to your YouTube page. If you don't have one, you got to make one, because we're going to have YouTube create the subtitles. So now we just click on this plus thing. We do upload video. Then I locate my video. First of all, I'm going to make it unlisted so that people can't see it. I find my video. I drag it in here. It doesn't matter what I title it, because now I'm just going to wait till it's uploaded, and then we'll catch up when that's done. All right, so video is uploaded. It is just processing. So now you can click on this link to go to the video. And then we should have an edit video button. So let's click on that. You can even close this down, to be honest, I think. Yeah. It is just going to process that video. So this is the new studio beta thing on YouTube. So we can go to Transcriptions. And then this might change in the near future, I feel like, because YouTube is playing around with this a lot. But typically I will click on this thing, and hopefully it stays like this. So they're still processing the video, and it looks a bit strange here. So let's click on back to Video Manager. And let's click edit, and let's click not translations. Okay, so maybe the video needs to finish processing before we can do it. So let's X out of this for now. Refresh. Okay, that's the add button. Yeah. So let's open up the thing that I just closed so I can see the... So now I'm in the, what is this called? The video manager, that's what it's called. Okay, so now I can see the image, so it's done processing. Let's try again. Let's go to edit. And now we can see Subtitles/CC. And let's go here and wait, because right here, it's empty right now. Now YouTube is going to be watching this video, transcribing it automatically. And when we refresh in 5 to 10 minutes, there's gonna be a little thing here that says English, and that will be our subtitles pretty much ready to go. So we'll catch up in about 5 to 10 minutes when that's done. All right, let's refresh this page. My guess is that the subtitles are now ready. Ta-da! Published, English, automatic. We gotta click on them. Don't skip this step. Even if you edit one little space, I don't want to go into the details, but because it's a little probably bug in the way that the subtitles are displayed. You just gotta go in here. Even if there's nothing to edit, just edit a space and remove it again. It will solve this little stupid problem. Okay, so now you have the option of editing or fixing these subtitles. The great thing, the reason why I'm doing this through YouTube is they're incredibly good at the automatic kind of transcription. So let's click edit, let's play this thing, and I want to just kind of go quickly through it and see if there are any edits to do. So I'm going to put speed 1.25, maybe even 1.5, and let's run this thing.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people
Don't worry about the font is here and this thing is here. Don't worry about that.
try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, you know, most of us when we start out as a solopreneur are very kind of low on cash, right? So it's hard for us to hire the people that we wish we could hire, right? So in my agency that I started in 2012, for the first 4 years, I was always on the lookout for the cheapest worker. And of course, you get what you pay for, and you know this already.
Can you see how amazing these are? Like they picked up on stuff like solopreneur, 2012, they put the actual number. Like YouTube is incredibly good at this.
Yet, what do? We're always looking for those cheap workers. Here's what I did though. I mean, you know what happens, right? You hire a cheap worker, they bug you about every little problem that comes up, they have you basically solve everything. So now you're paying somebody and you're working just as much. And at the end of the day, they're, you know, executing on the thing that you told them to execute. And at the end of the day, now you don't have any more time, you just have less money and more headaches. So here's what I did one day, 4 years into my journey. We make animated videos and I was working with these Ukrainian animators. So when
like everything is on point here. So I'm not really too worried. I know that YouTube struggles with when I say 2-hour agency, which is the name of my book, and I know that I'm pitching it at the end, so I'm probably gonna have to edit that. Let's see. A book called, the 2-hour agency. And I'm gonna be happy with this. I don't care if there are, you know, any minor things. Like the main thing is getting the message across, and as you can see, these subtitles are so on point that you're not that far off, even if they screw up a couple of words here and there, which I'm sure they have. Like it's not a problem. So all we got to do is save changes. And now we're going to go to this video and we are going to watch it and record it. So I would just click back to Video Manager, and then I'm going to click on the video, and now you'll see the reason why I left this kind of space at first where there's nothing.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people...
You see here?
I want to talk about one of the huge...
So first things first, I'm actually going to put it on 1.25 speed. Well, let's listen to it.
Huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a...
And by the way, here you can see how the subtitles are going to look, and you can change this. So yeah, just have a look.
Real like agency where you got people that can...
So if I can make them slightly smaller, I think they'll be centered vertically. Check this out.
Deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, you know, most of us when we...
you see how there's a little bit more space on the bottom than on the top there of the subtitles. So if I can just make them slightly smaller, I really don't care about this. I just want to show you that it's possible. So I'm going to go to Subtitles, and I'm going to Options, and here you can completely edit the way that the subtitles look. So you can get rid of like this black stuff, for example. I think if you do background color, and oh, I guess you have to have one, or background. If you put 0, yeah, see, like it's really cool. I might just do that actually. That looks pretty solid. And let's see if we can make them slightly smaller, and that would probably fix the it would fix the spacing thing. So font size, oh, I can just do 75. I think that's too small. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at 100 most likely. Yeah, so let's do that. English options 75. I'm gonna put it back to 100, and this looks awesome. So pull this all the way down, and this is the way it's gonna show up when we, you know, record this, which we're gonna do in a second. So let's do that. Okay, so Screenflow, I am literally recording my screen right now because I'm showing you. But the point is, now we got to record our screen. So with Screenflow, I just go up to this thing, and it would say record right here. But again, I'm recording this right now, so I can't record another one. But that's all you do is you click record. One other option that you could do this, by the way, is like you could, if you don't have a software like that, you could do through QuickTime, for example. I think you can do, let's just do cancel, QuickTime. Let's try that again. Cancel, file, new screen recording. And you just, yeah, this is the microphone, but I think click to record the full screen. Click where? Okay, now that's recording, as we can see up here. So, yeah. So you can see there are different ways of doing this, so don't freak out if like you don't have Screenflow. I'm sure that, you know, it's the same with Camtasia, you can record it. You can always do like even a Google Hangout, and you can share your screen. If you're really struggling to record your screen, there are many, many options like that. But ideally, you've got an actual software, right? So now we just want to make sure that we are recording what is happening on the monitor, and we are also recording the audio from the monitor. And the reason for that, especially if you're doing the 1.25 speed, is the way that they speed up the sound on YouTube is different than the way they speed up the sound in Screenflow. In Screenflow, they give you this kind of mouse sound, you know, like when you talk really fast when you speed up the sound. So it sounds terrible. Here they just kind of, I don't know how they do it, but it sounds way better. So I'm actually going to be using the YouTube sound. For that reason, I also want to turn off any apps that might ping during the recording, because we have to actually watch the 4 minutes and 37 seconds. So Skype is off, Slack is off, everything is off that's making sounds. And now I just, you know, click record, which I've already done. Once you've done that, you just hit play.
You just have less money.
You just hit play, and then you grab this and you go all the way to the left, and then you just release it. And once I release it, all the buttons are going to fade away, and it will only start capturing the actual video footage. So let's do that. I got to turn on the sound though, but let me do that first.
For you, I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go for do so. And with that, I'm signing off here today. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
And bam. So now I would just stop that, but I can't because I'm watching, you know, I'm recording the screen right now. So I am gonna probably have to do that because I need to show you how to edit it now. So I'll be back in a second. All right, so I took the recording from, you know, the screen that I was just showing you, and now this is the YouTube recording kind of ready to be exported. I just want to do a couple of things. So this is 1080, so I need to scale this up, which might not look great. Let's see how it looks. I don't remember having to do this before. Maybe it's better to, go full screen when you're recording these YouTube videos. But I think, let me check.
And more headaches. So here's what I did one day, kind of 4 years into my journey. We make animated videos, and I was working with these Ukrainian animators.
Okay, so a couple of things, right? So I had to blow this up a little bit. The only thing that is moving here that I don't have in another clip are these subtitles. So I'm actually going to take the original video and I'm going to put it on top of here, and I'm going to do the same thing with these with this text. So let me go to the other project where I have this stuff saved. It should be where would that be? Yes, in here. So I'm going to copy the video, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to put that here. And that, now I think we just need to do the 25% speed increase because they're different, remember? So we just need to make sure that they're starting at the same time, which they are not. But so now we can just gotta line up the sounds here. But first let me do this speed thing. So show clip inspector, and I'm gonna do 125%. Now let me double check this, but they should end they should end around the same time. It's looking a little strange. Let me see what's happening. So that is what it should be. Let's go check everything here. That's kind of weird, to be honest. Something's a little off.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try.
Strange. But this looks good.
That I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one.
This is really odd. This looks like some type of bug because everything is lined up here, but the sound is totally different.
Man bands have a business into a real band agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work. One of the big problems is most of us when we start out as a solopreneur are very kind of low on cash, right? So it's hard for us to
Now you can hear that the sound is synced, right?
hire the people that we wish we could hire, right? I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to.
Great. So now I'm going to take the YouTube audio, sorry, not the YouTube audio, but the audio from the actual video clip. I'm going to detach that, and then I'm going to remove it. Or I could just leave it, and I could go to the sound and put the volume on 0. Now let's check that the sound and my lips are moving in sync.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real agency where you get.
Looks awesome, right? So also check out the quality of this. And now when I remove it, this is from the YouTube video.
People that can.
So obviously we're going to export it once more, but let's see here. Yeah, we're going to export it once more, and I'm actually kind of feel like there might be a loss of quality when I do any type of editing to the video. So I'm not 100% sure about that, and this would not have any impact on your conversions, but I think I might just stick to the original here, and I'll see if the quality is any better. Either way, I wouldn't change it because it's definitely good enough.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems.
So I think we need to. We can't start the video like that, right? We gotta. This is where it starts, so we gotta start from. I needed the purple thing. The purple thing was not showing, and also I might just make this a little bit bigger.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real agency.
Okay, that looks good. So now I'm going to do the top text, which means I believe we've got the little line, we've got the text, and then we've got the background image as well. So we're going to do these three, Control C or Command C, and then I'm going to paste those in here. So let's see here. If we do this like that, and then we just need to put these three underneath, and I think that should solve everything. All right, so I'm gonna have to, this should be on top. No. The easiest way to do this, to solve this, so right now there's an arrangement thing where the YouTube recording is at the top and these things are on the bottom. If I put these things on top, then, you know, you saw what that looked like like a second ago, right? Like this is what it looked like. So here's how I'm gonna solve this. I'm going to crop the YouTube video. So I'm gonna put all this stuff on the bottom, and I'm going to crop the top of the YouTube video so that this part disappears. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to go to cropping, and I'm just going to do the top thing. So that's, it comes down here for 200, so I'm just going to manually enter like 250, and already you can see that now we've got, you know, we've gotten closer to seeing the higher quality version. So let's try it like 290. That looks pretty good. Let's see.
Always on the lookout for the cheapest worker. And of course, you get what you pay for.
So now this is like the highest quality possible. This is the highest quality possible. And the only recording that's like, you know, I can't fix here would be the subtitles. So, and that's totally fine. They look good enough. So let's make sure that everything is lined up. And it looks like, I don't know if you can see this. It's like the video on top it's showing a bit of the YouTube recording on the bottom. So I'm just gonna make this slightly bigger, and that fixes that. These are tiny, tiny details, but need it to look awesome. So let's check that now we can get rid of this gap. So let's move everything to there. And did I get everything? I did not. Okay, now let's try again. Now. Okay, this is how it starts.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo one-man band type of business into a real like agency where you got people that can actually deliver the work for you. One of the big problems is, you know, most of us when we start out as
okay, it's cool, it's good, it's ready. The only thing that I'm considering is, what's going on here? First of all, what is this? Is that the YouTube recording? No. Let me just check the ending. Of course, we gotta fix the ending.
I'm signing off here today. Thanks for watching. Ciao.
So that's the place to end. So let's see what happens if no. We'll just end it like this, I think. Let's see what happens.
Ciao.
Okay, that's fine. The thing that I was thinking of, you know, let's say that you see this video on your Facebook newsfeed, there is no sound, and you, since the video goes straight into like, here's the problem, if they first need to take their eyes to the top and read why you're a slave in your own business, I feel like they might miss that first sentence. Because remember, they're watching it on mute, so they're reading this, and during the time that they're reading this, I'm talking about,
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see.
you know, maybe now they've finished reading this, so now they start looking on the bottom, and then they got like
When people try to go
a split second to read that first sentence. So I'm wondering here if I should maybe leave some, I might leave some space here where it's like, this thing is there. Like I might just leave it as a freeze frame like this for like 1 or 2 seconds, and then I'll start the video after 1 or 2 seconds. That will allow people to read this and then by the time they look at the subtitles, the video starts. So let's just try to do that. I think that might actually help me get the message across even better.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see.
So around here is where I actually want to start the video now, and I'm changing this stuff on the fly here. So what if this was here?
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go.
Whoa. It's a little bit buggy because of all the files and stuff. Like it's
that I see when people try to go.
Super laggy. I need a better computer. But 2 seconds might be a bit too much. I might pull it back to 1 second so they read it in 1 second. It's like, why you're a slave in your own business? And then boom, we start the video. That would work. So
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try.
How can we do a freeze frame of this? Add freeze frame. Just never figured out what that means actually, how that works. Okay, so they added a freeze frame.
About one of the huge problems.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that solution. I don't know what the hell that was. So we're gonna leave 1 second, but I might solve it by doing. And I'm kind of experimenting here on the fly, to be honest. Like, I don't usually do this. This is just something that I have been thinking about. So I'm just going to do a screenshot of this part of the video, and I'm going to put that for 1 second. I think it will help me get people's attention or get the message across even better. So, like, let's try this out. Let's see how this would look. Stupid. Come on. You see what I'm trying to do here, right? Why is it going to the top? Okay. I'm curious. So we got a freeze frame for 1 second, and then the video kicks in. Okay, well, let's see.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try.
It's just so laggy. Like these files are so heavy. My computer is really not doing well with it.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go.
Anyway, I think it could work because we got just 1 second of no speech happening. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. So you don't have to do that. Like, it's gonna be okay either way. I'm trying to maximize the information that the consumer actually receives. I think we've got everything here except if I want to add this book, and you might have heard that swoosh was actually in the video before. So,
you know, start or grow or automate a digital agency. I got a book called.
So we could put this book in there now. Here is the book. And that swoosh sound actually made it into the video even though it wasn't supposed to. So let's try to add it here. Let's see what happens. Super buggy.
I got a book called The 2 Hour Agency where I cover all facets.
Yeah, that'll work. I might just rotate it a bit. And see if I can put it. That's kind of cool.
2 Hour Agency where I cover all facets of starting, growing, and automating it to the point where.
I don't like the tilt. So I might just do it like that.
I literally work. I got a book called The 2 Hour Agency where I cover all facets of starting.
Yeah, that'll work. That's good enough. And now we've got a video here that's really awesome.
I want to talk about one of the huge problems that I see when people try to go from this kind of solo.
Okay, let's run it. By the way, I think I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Screenflow windows open. That's probably why it's so laggy. But I think we got everything that we need here now. So now we're just going to export the file, but this time we've actually got subtitles. So that's pretty awesome. And I'm curious how the video quality is going to pan out now that I removed all those changes. I wonder if that will actually have or play a difference. Let's see. Play a big role here. To our agency, Facebook ad 5 subs. 100% and cool. So I'm gonna let this export. I'm gonna let this export, and then all you got to do is post it on your Facebook. But I'll be back when it's done exporting. Alrighty, video is done. Let me upload it. So I'll just show you the whole process. Although this should be pretty straightforward. Although there's one more thing we got to do. So I'm gonna take this video. Here's the other thing that you got to do. If you want to run this as an ad, you cannot have more than 20% text in the thumbnail. You can have it in the video, but not in the thumbnail. So let's go back to the video editor and let's find, like this would work. So I'm going to take a snapshot of the title, but without the subtitles. So I might just blow this up for the screenshot. I'm going to find a slightly more charming freeze frame of my face. And then I'm gonna take that. Screw it, that'll do it. So let me blow this up a bit so we can get the highest resolution. So I'm just screenshotting this. And this is the only text that's on the thumbnail, so that's not gonna piss Facebook off. So now we can click on thumbnail, we can click custom image, and I can go to all my files, and I can find the photo that I just took. And title for your video details. So you know that formula? You could use the same thing here. Attention, problem, definition, solution, proof and credibility, call to action. Right, so I might just title it the same, why you are a slave in your business. And then I might just follow this formula and write something. So if you got an online business that is 100% relying on your constant attention, you are effectively a slave in your business. For me, the solution to this was to start hiring higher quality freelancers to work for us. Let's put some emojis. It was scary. It cost 3 times as much. But our service got delivered much faster. Our clients was a lot happier with the results. They referred more people. They left higher reviews, even though it cost me 3 times as much to hire the professional freelancer instead of the cheapest one I could find, it paid off in the long run. If you have an agency, if you would like to start, grow, or automate a digital agency, check out my book, The 2-Hour Agency, to learn more about things like this. Put the 2houragency.com. Boom. I would like to get a link to the book at the top as well, like above the fold. But I don't know. I might have to reword this. If you get an online business that is 100% relying on your constant attention, you're effectively a slave in your business. If you got an online, if your business is 100% relying on your constant attention, you're effectively a slave in your business. I might have to skip this part. For me, the solution to this I might just get rid of this. It doesn't fit there at all, you know? In any case, this is what it's going to look like. I think that'll be good. So publish it, and that means we are done. So congratulations. You did it. Now it's going to take a couple of minutes, and then it'll be up and running. And you don't have to post it on your Facebook. You could just upload it as an ad inside of Ads Manager. But you could also upload it on your page as a piece of content, and then you could run it as an ad by just using that actual post, boosting that post. There you go. Have a good day.